Yeshua, your King of praise. Shalom, everyone. This is Messianic Rabbi Buzz Tremé, the Jew teaching you. Welcome to our Bible study. Yeshua, you are the way. Yeshua. So he starts time, the last day. We all go all the way to the book of Revelation to the first day and the last day. So in time is where God works out his purposes for everything outside of time. And man's days are only 6,000 years in the Bible, and then he goes into the millennial reign, which is 1,000 years apiece. The Sabbath. The whole Bible is teaching us about the Sabbath, the Sabbath, the Sabbath. Jesus said, I am the Lord of the Sabbath, and it's for you. He's pointing to the millennial reign. After that, what happens? Everything is made perfect. The bad guys are shipped out to the lake of fire. In Baton Rouge, I was growing up here, and I've mentioned this several times. We have a place outside of town called Devil's Swamp. Anybody remember that? And growing up here, that was fun. But I was a little boy, and Dad had some stuff he had to throw away, and we would take it to the dump. And the dump was at Devil's Swamp. And man, I was up that whole name, we were church-going people, and that was like, we're going to see where the devil hangs out, And we would go, and there was smoldering garbage burning. And it was a swamp, and it was just gradually pushed off with bulldozers into the swamp, into a landfill. This was when I was growing up. So I had a good picture of the lake of fire. When Yeshua taught about the punishment that is to come, he said it's like Gehenna, the Hinnom Valley. He said that's what it's like. That's where they were so sinful that they took the Israelite kids and offered them up to foreign gods in the fire. And so it became, God made it a place of refuge. So he said the garbage and dead bodies and this kind of thing are always smoldering out there. They keep the fire going because the garbage kept coming. He said this is going to be the eternal position or station of those who reject me. And so I had a real good picture. So God always intended to purify his universe, and he's got a devil's swamp out there. Guess what, though? The devil's not in charge of it. God is. The devil's in the swamp. Isn't that cool? All right, so when we get here to this covenant in human history, we see angels. Now remember, all up to 1,656 years is when the flood happened. From the making of Adam, 1,656 years. When that took place, we had a lot of stuff going on here. Angels were on the earth as the governors of the planet. And you can see that in the book of Genesis when... Remember the guy that says, so-and-so, he was married to Ada. He killed somebody. They got into an argument and he killed him. And they said, oh, you're in trouble now. And he goes, oh, no. If Cain was protected by God, who killed his brother, then I'll be protected by God. You remember that story? And I'm kind of just rushing through it there in my own words. But basically... what's this got to do with God? This is on earth with man. Well, the angels were here, and that was the government, and they were assisting mankind in his early years. But some of them said, hey, these guys are headed to victory over us. They're called God's children. Well, we're called God's children. But these guys, they got a lot more going for them. This ain't right, so let's mess it up. So they tapped into the human genetic system, and they flawed it, didn't they? But God found one that was not flawed, and he said, hey, I'll wipe all you guys out and start over. And that took place. So the flood took place, and the whole world testifies of it. So thank God for it, huh? So we move forward 400 years after the Noahic flood. Remember the three sons, Shem, Japheth, Ham. Shem, Abraham came from, and the nation of Israel. Also, the Arab world came from him. The Arab world is Semitic. Very often we act like, well, no, they're not. Well, there's a division between Jews and Arabs, no doubt. But if you look in the Bible, in the genealogy, it tells you that the man whose name was Eber, how you say it in English? Heber or something. Eber? Yeah, that's the word Hebrew. Okay? And he's right before Abraham comes on the scene, and it says he had two sons, Yoktan and whatever his name is, Peleg. And in his days the earth was divided. Okay? Well, Yoktan is the father of the Arab world, and you can trace that out. And a lot of people believe this Yoktan, or Joktan, however it is in English, believe he was Job. Okay, so then you have the Jewish lineage coming off here, but so both of these come from Hebrew. So that makes them Shemitic, because Hebrew, Eber, was the man who's descended from Shem, creating the Shemitic people. Anyway, just thought you'd need to know that, because you guys are smart and brilliant and way ahead of the human race, so I wanted to give you that. All right, so we have Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham, his lineage becomes the people of Canaan, Canaanites, as well as the African people, and usually the darker skinned peoples have their roots, Chinese, etc., back to Ham. Now don't ever think this is bad if you grow up a real white person, and I'm exempt. Shemitic here. You might have a slant on that, like white is better. No, we're people, humans. God loves variations, and he loves all the different kinds. So he does this, but in it all, he has purposes planned for each of these lineages, these stems. So from the Japhethites, Japheth, comes the Indians, India, and the Europeans. It's called the Indo-European peoples. Okay? Iran is a part of that group. Iran is not Arab like most of the surrounding nations, though they are Islamic. They are not Arabs. They're Aryans. Okay? From the Iranians are Aryans, and they go back to Japheth. Japheth is a word that means fair or beautiful, and he's the fair-skinned peoples of Europe by and large. We're to be. Some of you met Raja from India. He came here to visit us, and we'd been there to visit him, and he was here. And Raja, Christian, of course, and anyway, he would laugh and tell us. He says, "You guys are all so white." And he was just because he was black, and he says, "I am very black." And he would show it, and I mean, this guy was black as coal, right? And he says, "But I am Indian, not Negro." And it's unique. He had all of the Anglo-Saxon features, but he's just black as the ace of spades, and a fine man. Love the Lord. And so my point is, it's God who chooses these features, but we're just, whatever you get, you get. We need to all get along, love each other, and go forward with it, huh? Yeah. And it works. All over the world, people look at each other going, "You're a little different from me." Well, how about that? You know, it's just cool, huh? So, yeah, and that's what makes humanity. And I used to really, in 1984, you know, most everybody knows me. They know that I had a vision. I had an open vision, and where the Lord appeared to me seated on the throne, and I worshiped him, and I'm telling it like it was just casual, but everybody knows me. In 1984, the day before Thanksgiving, he appeared in my backyard in my shop. I had a little shop out there where I did woodwork, and this changed my life forever now. I was in love with him, but he appeared and told me some things about my life that I was to do. It's amazing how it all happened. And he was seated on the throne wearing a crown of gold, very ornate, very beautiful, very fitting, and he was so beautiful. And I just kept falling down, worshiping and jumping up, and shouting how beautiful he is, and I kept saying, "Search my heart. I'm so in love with you. Look and see." I was, like, you need to know how much this man adores you. And And I was just at one point, it was like the camera zoomed in on him, on his face and everything. He had jet black hair, dark eyes, olive skinned face, a black beard, ringlets. His hair was ringlets. And the most gorgeous man you can ever imagine. I know this happened to me, so help me God. This was an open vision that the Bible talks about. And so I saw him, and I said, "You are so beautiful." You know, I just couldn't express it enough. And he just kind of leans forward, you know, just the way he handled that. It wasn't like, well, I mean, you know, I don't know what to say. He knew what to say, and he just leaned forward and he says, "Well, I'm the how do you say it? I'm the like the alpha male." I'm the prototype, man. I'm the beginning. I'm in the end. I am what everybody else is shooting for, you know. And I just went, "Oh yes, God." And anyway, this was an experience that happened. But after that, I just was fascinated. I would tell people, and they'd say, "Well, tell me, I bet he had these gorgeous blue eyes." So I go, "No, he didn't." And he didn't. I said, "A lot of you white folks are going to be surprised." He's a Middle Eastern Jew. What do you think? You know, he's going to look like he's from Sweden. Anyway, he's a Jew, and he glorified Jew. Beautiful Jew. Huh?